Quantic. Together we are Ship Guild. Oh, I can hear an echo. Give me 2 quick seconds to fix this. All right, we're all set here. I don't know about you, Quantic, but when I hear my own voice, it's the most distracting thing in the entire world here. How about you?
Yeah, the same. I don't like that at all. Not that I particularly hate my voice, but it's just like very distracting. But
Hmm.
just on your end, I can hear you really well, and I hope it's the same for me.
Yeah, crystal clear, actually. I think we're finally nailing our systems here where technology is on our side for once here. I'm just going to tilt this up a little bit here. And yeah, so in saying all that, off to a good start. Let's knock on some wood, everyone. And we're going to have a fun stream today. Quantic, do you want to quickly, actually, before we get into the topic today, yeah, formally, not formally, legitimately, thank you guys for joining us today. I've been excited about this conversation now for the past 2 weeks, even before our stream last week, where we spoke about how to actually monetize your account on X. And honestly, I think it was one of our most successful streams in a while. I know that we had over 500 views on X, and it. Yeah, I've got a lot of really positive feedback from our community about it, and people were pretty fired up about it. So yeah, today is kind of a continuation from that. And we're going to talk about how now that you are monetized, now what do you do? Because I don't know about you, Quantic. I did not know this, that the same strategy that you use to get monetized does not work at all to continue to get paid. Did you know this?
Um, yeah, I kind of knew some of it. Like I know the monetization game on X is extremely hard, even though you might get, you know, even though you might go viral with your replies, like the way you're doing it, doesn't translate into you making a good buck in a consistent way at all. But one thing that I want to highlight today is the fact that we are getting more people involved that are finally taking action and they're seeing results, right? This is what I have here on my screen. Kasha, that has been with us for a while, now he's applying the same things that we are trying to teach from our own learnings, right? And it seems to be working.
Honestly, I'm quite fired up about that. That's like I know we've been literally preaching this now for 5 years, Quantic, that we're not going to win unless we all win, and we're our mission here is to help share all the things that we're learning. Oh, it spins now. Sorry, that distracted me. That looks really nice. And to like impart it to you guys so that you can win as well. But now actually seeing receipts of people doing that on the timeline is amazing. And for me personally, it fires me up even more to continue down the trajectory that we are on right now, continue to deliver the value, continue to do the work, continue to do the research, and share it with everyone because people are actually taking advantage of it now. And it's awesome. It's awesome. How are you feeling about all that?
It's amazing because now we have a system, something that we struggled for years. So, what is this system about? It's basically what we are creating with the ShipGuile app. If you go to the shipguile.com/rewards and you hold any amount of ship, even one token, what you will get is access to these resources that are currently unlocked because I log in with my wallet here and I do have Shield, and you can see the exact guides of the things that we're learning and we're applying uh, to grow on X, to monetize, to optimize token spending. So honestly, it's like one of the most resourceful places that I know for people that are building in this sector of like kind of crypto and AI, right? So I just want to highlight this time and time again because we're seeing that it takes a little bit of push to help people to take action, but once they start doing it they can see the results, right? Which of course for me and I'm sure for you is like super rewarding, right?
Yeah, 100%. 100%. And so, like, I'm not the type of person who likes to toot my own horn here, but I'm going to because I think it's important here. So, Quantic and I, we're not just random people out here trying to just say that we know our stuff and like, we're going to hook you guys up with some alpha so you guys can learn stuff. Um, we we're very well positioned to be able to learn and deliver actual value. Like Quantic, you work hand in hand with devs all over the Flare ecosystem, and so you're learning things at a very, very high level. So all the information and knowledge that you're sharing about AI is extremely validated. And then the work that I've been doing, I freaking tunnel vision um, on social growth, social media growth. I've have a ton of receipts that I've shared, all over the timeline. I've been iterating and showing results now for years. So like I know what works, I know what doesn't. And like this is the stuff that we're sharing with you guys. And like to actually see that people are realizing this now, that this is helpful information for them to actually make a difference in their life is super cool. Like we're being heard and we're making a difference. So I'm into it.
Yeah, and for the people that are watching right now, please ensure to give us some feedback and things that you're working on so we can help you. Um, we are builders, right? We are content creators, and we are here every single day. We show up and try new things. And like Trav said, like we have more than enough kind of receipts that we can show you. And we know like things that work and things that don't work, so we can save you a ton of actually money and time, right? And we can like we are building this community for all of us to win together. Um, and I'm curious now, Trav. You mentioned before the live stream that you have been multitasking lately. What are you working on these days?
So currently, I'm working on a couple of things here. I've been learning how to do so. Like the one that's probably least applicable to most people watching right now is I've been learning how to do motion graphics and motion design, because it's definitely a skill that is going to help enhance my presence on X. I've noticed that the content that I do make that kind of shares my journey about learning these things has been performing very, very well. But then also it's going to open up opportunities for me to do like more valuable work for people, more valuable work for awesome projects and stuff like that. So that's been the one thing. And the other big thing these days that I've been working on is now that I have monetized my account on X, I am pivoting now to taking that momentum and then using the time and my energy to translate it to actual organic growth. Because here's the thing that blew my mind that I did not realize, even though this has been out for a little while now, is the same strategy that I used to get 5 million views or 5 million impressions in 4 weeks does absolutely nothing for me now that I'm monetized. So I like that's all of that strategy, all of that work is doing nothing for it count. It does not count at all. Like every single one of those impressions counts as zero for continuing to get paid. So my big pivot now is, I know this works. So how can I make a similar strategy that will work for me to grow organically on X? Like how could I continue this momentum, um, but do it in a way that's actually helpful? And
All
so,
right. But just to be clear on the monetization part, what is
mhm,
what actually brings you money? Okay, you unlock a strategy with the help of AI for
mhm,
replying that we really detailed it everything like on the last live stream, but then to make money, right? After that,
yeah.
what is it that you have learned so far?
So I've learned that replies don't count. Replies that
Okay.
you do to other profiles, other people's content does not count at all. The only thing that counts is people is engagement and impressions on your original content that is seen on the timeline, and it's mostly from actual verified followers, so people who actually have the blue check, like those, you want those people to engage with your original content, and then those impressions alone are what counts for impressions to continue to get paid every 2 weeks. And I'm nowhere near that. So I want to figure out how to actually boost those numbers. That's a that's a tall order. And
That's a
like
different game,
it's a
certainly.
completely different game. Exactly. Exactly. So yeah, there's a lot to unpack there. And that's kind of something that I feel like all of us have been trying to figure out for the past little while. And in the search for that, I've been using AI, and it has been nowhere near as easy as it was for the strategy to get monetized. And I'm curious to kind of pick your brain about some of these struggles that I've had. But before I do, kind of what's I'm just curious to kind of know your reaction to all this so far, and like what are you thinking about all of this?
So what I think is like, if you want to maximize your chances of making money on this app, you're very likely to encounter certain behaviors and certain practices that will help you achieve that, but perhaps are not aligned with what you want to achieve or the way
Mhm.
you want to achieve it. Um, and this is a personal decision, right?
Yeah.
I would love to give you like more insights into that, but personally, like I said the last live stream, I'm not participating on X in any of those ways. Like I'm just creating content about the things that I care for the people that I care. If that translates into monetization at some point, good. But if not, like it's fine for me. But I think again that each one of us has like their own journey and their own decisions to make. Unfortunately, I haven't seen anything in which I can say, you know what, this person, this creator is actually creating a tons of value for humanity, and at the same time, he's monetizing his account on X. What I've seen is a game of attention,
Mm.
really similar to crypto in the sense like short-term attention and like tricks and here and that. So it's like for me, it's not a game that I've seen like long-term value in terms of like playing that. That said, I'm not gonna judge anyone, and of course, I want to know more about the details and see people succeeding with it, and that's always cool.
Yeah, no, 100%, man. I think you nailed that. Like, so to kind of put it into perspective, um, after going through all of this, I honestly I wish I just stuck to your strategy to begin with. Because let me kind of play out how it worked for me is I spent all this time, you know, generating impressions, which I absolutely succeeded at. I got a $60 check from X for monetizing. But now, unless I continue to get like at least a million impressions every 2 weeks on my organic account, I'm not going to get anything. And I'm nowhere
Exactly.
near that. So, really,
Exactly.
I did all that work for $60. And
Yeah. I mean, I
yeah,
honestly $60 in other places of the world, and with the amount of time that you put into, like I think it could be a good deal for others.
for sure. For sure. Especially if you're playing that attention seeking game. Not that sounds really bad. But if you're posting, for example, you see a lot of these accounts now that are just posting for entertainment value, and they get millions and millions of views on multiple posts a day. That would be a lucrative business. And that's a very, very valid goal. If that's what you want to do coming to X every day, that's a very valid option to get a ton of money, strictly from making content on X. But that's not our goal. Our goal is to actually be building something, wanting to make money in other ways besides just creating content on X. And unless you are really here to entertain, odds are it's going to be really, really hard to make
It's
that
gonna be
happen.
really hard. Exactly.
So,
All right then. I think it's a good moment to transition into like the main topic.
yeah.
What is it that so far you can back by data or that you have discovered that would help you grow your account while using AI for all of this? Obviously, I would imagine like the research is kind of one of the key aspects because I think
Yeah.
like a lot of people confuse I'm going to use AI to grow on X or get monetized whatever with posting AI slop, right? And this is
Yeah.
probably the main reason we have so much AI slop, which honestly we never encourage people to do that, just to be super
No.
clear.
100%. And yeah, I'm really glad that you're starting off with that because even in my research, like I've done deep research into the X algorithm, and came back explicitly with not only very solid evidence not to do that, is that if they X has banned and canceled and suspended hundreds of thousands of accounts now because of either AI slop that they were producing or botting their account, or not necessarily botting account, but using AI agents to basically reply for them. Um, and that's a risk I'm not willing to take. Like, you see these so many accounts out there that get banned or suspended, and they're all that hard work is just down the toilet. They never get their accounts back. So it's not worth a little bit of time saved, a little bit of a few more thousand impressions for me to risk my account being lost. And then explicitly, there was a warning that I got from my
Oh
agent
yeah.
from browsing the account that said, you know, it's okay to use AI in the process of growing your account, but like, it is non-negotiable. You need to have a human in the mix as like kind of that end stage. You can use AI for research, you can use AI to help guide your writing and suggest different strategies, but there has to be the human element in there. Otherwise, like 90 to 95% chance that you will get banned or suspended. Especially now, did you see this? That there's actually ways now. I haven't seen it on my account in Canada, but I believe in different regions they have this where you can downvote, kind of like mute or block, um, or reporting different pieces of content or different creators. You can actually do that, but mention that it's AI slop or like looks like AI slop, and then you can have your content downgraded or downvoted like that as well. And that's going to be a huge negative impact on your profile and your visibility also.
And okay, I think yeah, I think that makes sense. But that warning thing, is that something that the AI flag, or you receive an email or what from X
Oh
or?
no, it wasn't to me about my content. It was just a warning in general. Like, from my
Ah,
agent after analyzing the algorithm, it said, like, you know, now that AI is so prevalent, there are measures that have been implemented into the algorithm to really try and keep AI slot from happening, and there are real consequences to having AI reply for you, using exclusively
uh-huh.
AI slop and AI content. Like, there are really, really bad consequences to that, including nerfed exposure, suspension, canceling
Yeah.
your X account, like all these different things here. So
Okay,
it
so crystal clear now. If you're building on X, you want to build for the long term, a brand, a real community, anything real, forget about all of that, right?
Yeah.
So the question is, what do I do?
Yeah, what do you do? Well, I think a great place to start is to figure out the rules. Like, the most important thing when being on X and creating content and being out here is you have to know what works and you have to know what doesn't. So that was kind of the first thing that I did. Actually, maybe I'll do like a quick high level view, and then we can kind of dive into things, whatever you think
Sure.
might be most impressive or most interesting here. So first kind of step is learn the rules of the game. So you want to use an AI agent to dive into the algorithm to actually help you understand what the algorithm likes, what it doesn't like, what you're going to get boosted for, what you're going to get deboosted for. And the big
Right.
thing that I've seen is that negative consequences from breaking the rules is a lot worse than any positive effects from playing by the rules. So you do not want to break the rules because that will cost you reach. That could even cost you your account. So
Okay.
that's the
And
first thing.
anything, okay, and I guess that for that you just create a prompt, your agent can do the research for you, so it shouldn't be that complicated. Do we have any material that we can show about that, or that's something that, we ask people to work on their own, which is fair?
Yeah, I can show you guys the prompt that I used here. It's very, very straightforward, very basic here. Let me pull up my Hermes agent. Let's see your entire screen. Here we go. Okay. It's way up here. We've had a long conversation here. Okay, so here we go. Uh, okay, actually, no, it was down here. This one here. All right. Okay, so this is actually I think this it's easy to make a prompt for this, but here's the really important thing. So I did ask my agent in my initial prompt up here to introduce the problem. I'm trying to build a new strategy on X. I want you to look into the algorithm, figure out what's going on, figure out the rules. Um, the big things that I wanted to mention were tell me the things to do and then not to do. Make sure to include that as well. And then anyways, yes. So that's the big thing. But the really important thing is because there are so many updates and because there was actually a change on where the X algorithm was published, you need to make sure that they are checking the right, most up to date algorithm. So, and for this, like in the initial reply that I got from my Hermes agent, it said that it was referring to an algorithm that was last updated in January. And I'm like, wait a second here. There have been more recent updates than January, including one within the last few weeks. Can you please double check you are looking into the right algorithm code here on GitHub? And then it was like, yeah, good catch. You were right. There is a real update I missed, and
Uh-huh.
so that's
Okay.
the important key you want to make sure you include here.
Just a quick one, Trav, because I'm reading here on the public chat. There is someone commenting, "Hi guys, yep, send those tokens. I need tokens." I guess that he's referring to having some ship tokens to get access to these resources in which we are uploading everything on the ShipGuile app. Um, what do you think? We can send some if people share their
Yeah,
wallet address.
100%. I'm definitely down for that. Share your address. Not in the chat, but in the actual below the post for the live stream, and we'll send you
I, I think
some
this
chip
is
tokens.
coming from YouTube, so probably we will just have to do it on the comments. I think if you go to Restream, you should be able to actually show that message so the rest can see it.
Ah, there
There
it
you go.
is.
Public chat.
Public chat. Okay, here we go. There it is. We've got, here we go. Let's put this up here. This is from Panga Panga 2152. I love it. Thank you for joining us today, my friend. Hi guys. Here, let's pull off this here for a quick second here. There we go. Let's get that chat back up here. Here we go. Yes. Panga Panga 2152. Drop your wallet address in the comments below the live stream so that we'll see it and we'll send you some tokens for sure. Appreciate you being here, my friend. That's awesome. I'm just gonna pull this back up here. Where's brand? All right, we'll get my Hermes agent back up here. Okay, before we continue, Quantic, one thing I wanted to chat with you about because this was something that really surprised me. And I want to talk about it live because I think I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of our viewers experience this as well. But so many times during this process, the my Hermes agent was lying to me. It was giving me wrong information, but giving it to me confidently, like it thought it was right, and just generally giving me crap information. Like I asked it to give me some prompts to that I can use for Grok, which I'll get into that in a second. That's another really important point to dive into today. And the prompts were crap. And then I wanted it to generate some PDFs for me, so for like show notes and for the actual strategy itself. And it was such terrible it was just such terrible information and the format was horrendous. I was really let down by my AI agents over the last 24 hours here. And that's not just for this task here of trying to optimize my content strategy on X, but in my video editing workflow as well. Like I the my my AI agents were very much letting me down and it was costing me tokens and it was costing me time and energy. And I was wondering if you have any tips on how to improve this. So to kind of full disclosure here, I was trying to use Sonnet 4.6 because it's more effective on token use, and the tasks that I were using were pretty token intensive. Um, but still, like it just was not, I was not impressed by the work it was doing.
Yeah, so let me talk about that because I have to be honest with you, Trav. This week was the worst for me working with AI tools ever. The reason is because I reached the cap on my Codex account, and then when
Mm,
switching to another model on Hermes, everything got screwed, like
mm,
literally. Nothing worked, there was no context, and there was no explanation as to why the performance was such a bad thing, right? It was like it got completely stupid AI, and all the other models were stupid. While I know, like I've been playing with this tool, so I know a lot of these other models, like they are not that bad. So I was
mhm,
just like you, trying to figure it out what is really going on. And I think there are two things. One is the fact that we might be getting a performance that is not the one that was at one point advertised after a few months, right? A few weeks, mostly because they want people to be plugging into the ultimate model, spending
mm,
the most amount of tokens. So if you want to, you know, if you want to be smart and save some tokens using other models, probably those models that you're using, there is some sort of poor performance configuration or resource allocated to that that is triggering that.
mm.
That's my number one bet for now. The other reason uh, I think is your system. Like I don't know the details, but I know my case, right? In my case, I figured out I had several weak points in my system that may makes things such that when I switch to another model, the entire agentic system that I have with multiple agents
Mhm.
and fallbacks and prioritization of certain agents for certain tasks got completely broken. And
Mm.
that's not on the model, it's not on Hermes, it's only on me and how I'm setting up things. So I had to sit down and do a deep dive in everything I'm doing in my system, in the memory, in the different tasks, and how the entire agentic harness that I have is working behind the scenes. And it's very painful. I haven't figured that out yet, but I suspect it could be along those lines, like in terms of like finding what's really going on.
Understood.
So it's a little bit frustrating, I have to say. But just to clarify, what is like your main pain point is that when you switch models, you get models that are more shitty, right? Is that the thing?
No, I wasn't doing a whole lot of model changing. I was mostly using Sonnet 4.6.
Right.
It was just it was not didn't it was almost like it wasn't double checking its work. It
Yeah.
was just being lazy. It went out and
Yeah.
grabbed the first obvious answer, fed it to me confidently, and it was terrible. It was really, really
Right.
bad. And then I had to
Okay.
call
Then
it out over and over again to be like, this is
yeah.
wrong. Give me a better answer. Do better
Yeah.
next time.
It was exactly the same. And let me tell you how incredible this was because this week it happened to me with these Chinese models,
Mhm.
with the latest version of GPT, I think it's Sol or whatever, with Fable 5, you name it, like across the board. And I was like, what is going on? And the
Yeah.
only thing I discovered I could control, and this is critical alpha here, if you're watching this, please give it a reshare or clip this part, is to create a sort of persistent loops. I think
Mm,
people in the AI community at some point were super hyped about loops and that you shouldn't be prompting, you should be doing prompts. Like, I'm gonna be honest with you, I don't know what those guys are actually talking about in practice. It feels to me that you just have certain goals you want to achieve with your AI systems, and then you create whatever is needed, including those loops to achieve that. So in my case, I did ask my Hermes agent to have a sort of enforcement rule such that it does the things that it's not doing, like double checking the work, never even stop if the work hasn't been double checked and the task has been fully completed, and that it has to ask me first what is needed from me in terms of,
Mm,
because sometimes there are blockers, right? It needs credentials, it needs a certain piece of context, it needs clarification, whatever. So I'm asking my agent now, all of that has to be before, but then once you start completing the task, you just don't stop, right?
okay. So I think I see an important point in there that I need to emphasize because I tried making a loop. And what ended up happening is my agent got stuck in this endless loop. It basically was trying to execute this very, very simple task. I wanted it to animate a 3D object, literally bouncing back and forth on the
Right.
screen and then spinning every once in a while. Very, very basic task. Everything was already done for it. And I asked it, you've messed this up 4 times now. Don't you know what you need to do? Don't come back to me until you figure this out. And it took this task an hour and a half and until I realized, you know what, this is probably stuck at this point. There's no way it should be this
Yeah.
hard, considering I could do this myself in 20 minutes. Now, all of a sudden, this workflow is becoming more inefficient from using AI than if I were to just do it myself. And it and so yeah, I had to essentially stop the task and be like, all right, what happened here? And then it's like, oh, I messed up. I shouldn't have been doing this. I was banging my head against the wall, trying the same thing over and over again.
Yeah.
But the issue was asking for it to ask you for clarity, baking in those prompts, those yeah, baking that in the prompts to be like, yeah, if you get stuck, let
There's
me
one
know.
more thing to add here, Trav. So glad that you mentioned this, which is once the AI, let's assume for whatever task, for whatever reason, whatever model, it gets really stupid, right? Like
Yeah.
the situation you're mentioning. You have
Yes.
to ask the AI, what's wrong with the way you are doing things? Please
Mm,
provide a detailed response about everything you're doing wrong. Think through it, right? And it's
okay.
gonna give you all the things. Okay, and then you tell them, please keep in your memory to never make those mistakes. You now know what you don't need to do.
Okay. That's huge. That's really important. I'm gonna give that a sound effect here.
Yeah, it's like it's quite literally like talking to a smart kid, right? Like a smart
Yeah.
kid, they can get things done with few directions, but from time to time, something like it will go off, right? And it will fail, and it will completely fail time after time. So you just have to stop there, reflect, and then provide the set of instructions so that it becomes something permanent in the system.
They don't know what they don't know. That makes a ton of sense here. A
Yeah.
ton of sense. So I'm just realizing. So first of all, if you guys are paying attention, if you guys are watching right now, like that is, especially with the state of AI right now, it needs to do better. It's kind of really crappy at the moment. These are very important points for you guys to take away if you are planning on using AI for any tasks, but especially, for Growing on X here. We have about 6 minutes left until we have to wrap this up. There's one important point that I think would be helpful if we went over before the end of the topic here today, and that's to kind of discuss models and things like that. And from my perspective here, I think one of there's a warning and there's some alpha here, both of which I guess are alpha. But if you have a verified account on X, you have access to Grok. And the upside to that is that it has all of the updated access to all the live everything that happens on X. Whereas if you wanted to access that information from your agent, you'd either have to give it your login credentials or pay a ridiculous amount of money for the API access to actually, get connected to all of the posts on X, all of the data on X, all of that stuff. So there is value in using Grok for your audits, for your research, to optimize your account, all of this stuff. However, um, Grok has limitations. It's very prone to agreeing to you, and it's not the greatest with giving you accurate answers. And you also have to be very, very clear with what you want and set very, very clear parameters. Otherwise, it's going to give you a slot back. And a very clear example on how this kind of works is for my account audit. I wanted it to grab all of my last um, say 20 pieces of content, give me all the metrics for it and all of this. But instead of giving me just like my own pieces of content, it gave me essentially the last 20 replies that I made and built this entire strategy around that. When that's not at all what I asked for. So just, you had to be very, very clear. You have to make sure to explicitly say in any prompts that you use, if you don't know, tell me you don't know. Don't just give me information to please me, sort of thing. So, for
Yeah.
example, like to kind of just finish that thought here, I am I'm working on a PDF to hand out to our audience on our Ship Guild site on prompts that you can use to optimize Grok, and we'll include all of this stuff. Because of the struggles that I've been having with my AI agents this week, it's not as good as I want it to be. So I'm going to work on optimizing my AI systems on my end. As soon as that's done, I will have a whole list of prompts that you can use to audit your account using Grok. You can create lists of people to reply to, because this is one other thing, one of the highest leverage things that you can do to grow organically on X still to this day is replying, but you have to reply to the right people. And I'll leave it at that teaser for now because I've done a ton of research into this. This is one of like, if you want to grow on X, if you want to get more impressions on your content, on your posts, if you want to have more followers, you need to reply the right way. And it is nowhere near as similar. It has nothing to do with the reply strategy to get monetized. So we'll put a pin in that one. I am creating a document. I will share to Ship Guild. If you guys do want to access that before our stream next week, grab a small bag of ship token and then you'll have access to that. Otherwise, if we have time for next week's live stream, I will share everything about that. But yeah, I think that's like one of the highest, that's like the alpha of growing organically is you have to reply the right way. And I'll even break it down. There's like a 50, 30, 20 rule to that is really important to know and really important to follow to actually make your time spent replying useful. So I can go on and on and on. I almost started to, but we have 2 minutes before you have to leave here, Quantic. So anything kind of final words, final thoughts you want to share before we sign off today?
Yeah, so one, of course, as you mentioned, all the resources that are gonna be created from this stream are gonna be on the ShipGuile/rewards section. You just have to have some tokens to unlock it. That's one thing. Second is that I think we got to the point in which we can discuss more advanced things next week. And I'm gonna be preparing some material around um, cloud agents and
Mm,
local agents, right? Because right now what we're doing is essentially paying ChatGPT like subscription, plugging that into Hermes, and getting most things done from there. And then the system that you have to create is like unique to your use case and to the daily tasks, right? So it's like very hard to give you very concrete tips on that. However, though, how about you compare that against what you can do with a cloud agent, meaning an agent that never goes to sleep and lives on a specific workspace, and your local agent as well. You probably want local when you want to deal with tasks that require more privacy and less censorship. So we're gonna
mm.
discuss both those two topics during the next week. So make sure you join us, follow the ShipCal on X or on YouTube or wherever you are, and every single Friday at 4 p.m. UTC, you will be able to watch these streams, then unlock some of these resources on the ShipGuide app. But that's not it. We can even package things for free, most of the value for free for you on our newsletter, Trav. I think you can share more about that part before we wrap it up.
100%, 100%. So every single Monday, we publish our Growth Bites newsletter, which right now is not only a summary of everything we talk about in our live stream, but we expand on it as well. We make sure to every week deliver some extra prompts, some extra insights, things to look forward to in the coming week. And it's yeah, this is for free. This is we're you know offering it to you guys because, like we said, we want you guys to win, and you can access this subscription on our Ship Guild profile. You go to our link tree up top in our bio, and right at the bottom here, you can go to subscribe to Growth Bites, and it's right there here for you. Again, always love to hear feedback. So if you guys do subscribe to that, or you just want to check out all of our previous subscriptions or our previous newsletters before subscribing, you can do that as well. It's once a week. Once in a while, we'll send out 2 a week if we've got extra information we want to share, which we did last week, and it was awesome. But yeah, let us know what you guys think, and if it's things you want to learn about, if you think there are things you think we could do better, let us know. We're here for you guys. So yeah, that's that. Awesome.
That's that. I have a hard stop, unfortunately, Trav. I'm so sorry about it, but I have to take care. I'm gonna be a father now, so whatever happens on the health side with my wife, I just have to run. It's been an exciting couple of days. Thanks.
100%. And congratulations to you, Victor, man. I'm super happy for you. Sorry, Quantic.
No, it's all good. Thank you so much, Trav. As always, this was a pleasure, and I'll see you next week.
Yes, we will see you next week. And thank you everyone for joining us today. It's been an absolute privilege here. My name is Trav. This is Quantic Together. We are Ship Guild. See you guys on the timeline and see you next Friday. Take care.